Hey, Corey from Massdriver here. I wanted to show off two of the agentic development features we're working on for Massdriver. So first is our Agentic Harness, which makes it safe for agents to make infrastructure as code changes and contribute to your cloud environments without wreaking havoc on production. And also our context lake, which is a rich graph layer that lets you query your cloud from almost any attribute, which is great for humans that are trying to find resources in the cloud or build reports, inventories, etc., but also great for AIs because they can actually look up and find information and see the relationships between different cloud resources, like which apps are using which databases and which databases are in which subnets, rather than just having lists of all these things. So what's really funny is this demo that I was working on, I was actually working on for a customer. They wanted to see a migration from AWS to GCP. And so when I was putting it together, I just kind of wanted some trash. I just wanted some like quick bundles to throw together, some modules I could connect together. And so you can see my prompt over here on the left. I need to make a demo of some basic GCP architecture for a customer, cut a GCP branch, add basic support for networks, serverless container, and Postgres. You don't need to publish these bundles and do the full development lifecycle. Just get a good baseline. Don't worry about compliance, yada yada. And then I give it some information about like how to use the automations for networks and databases that we already have set up in this environment. And so it was, since it's using the Massdriver Agentic Harness, my team's already defined a bunch of compliance and security rules and tooling and whatnot. And so it literally cannot. And so the funny thing is, like, I just wanted to kind of just spit out some garbage really quick so I could kind of diagram some stuff for a demo. And I ended up getting fully compliant modules that meet my entire team's needs, which is great. So we'll just pop over here really quick. So, I can actually see the full configuration here. I can see my diagram. This is nice. This is the same interface developers would use for managing their cloud infrastructure. As the operator working on a new IAC, you can use the same environment to watch your agents actually build out stuff and how it connects it all together. This form right here is your Terraform variables or OpenTofu variables that can come in here and configure. So it's the same interface that developers would use. And actually, this is kind of like my final checkpoint now when I'm making modules is I talk to Claude. It goes through the Agentic Harness. I see it go through all the compliance rules, and then I'm actually over here watching to see what the developer experience looks like, right? And that's how I'm trying to add value as an ops engineer, make sure things are compliant and secure, and make sure the development experience is good. And so this is the same interface that developers use, and I can actually configure and interact with the AI's infrastructure as it's working through it right here. You can see that it's building development releases of this infrastructure, so these modules aren't hitting my developer workspace yet, where my developers can get to them. If I click on history here, I can actually see it walk through the entire history of trying to build out this module. So I can see it deployed about 21 times, going through just different compliance. I can see release channel upgrades here, so that's it working in infrastructure as code versus trying different configurations out. You can see it's working through compliance here, which is pretty cool. And then, it's still working on some stuff right now, but let's see what it's got. So looks like it's gotten through about 18 of these compliance checks. It's got one more that it's still working on. You can actually see over here, it'll use whatever your compliance tool is to essentially log anything that it's going to skip compliance on. So I can see that it's decided to skip on 3 different compliance rules there with descriptions why. It looks like it's got one more in flight. And if I pop over here, yeah, it looks like it's even got a guardrail on here to make sure that even though I'm having successful builds in this staging or test environment, that would never happen in a prod environment. So you can actually see it switch the mode there for production environments, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is the Massdriver, self-service portal. Essentially, our provisioning engine acts as the Agentic Harness when agents start working through the API. The other thing I wanted to show is our context lake. So this is the GraphQL view into our context lake. You can kind of query just about anything you want from your cloud environments here. Maybe you need to find every single VM that's a T3 micro because you're trying to get rid of them. You can actually query that across your entire cloud footprint, not just in a particular region. Or maybe you wanted to find a specific version of an image that's running on all of your Terraform clusters because you want to upgrade that. So you're doing an audit and trying to find that. You can actually do a single query and search across your entire cloud footprint there. You can even introspect and see, like, in my environment right now where I'm doing this demo, here's all the different dimensions that I can query my infrastructure on. So I can kind of look up anything by pretty much any of these. And I can also do things like, query what are all all of the infrastructure as code modules that the agent is using right now. So this is me querying this agent's environment, and I can actually see, the different resources that they're using here, and the versions of those. So that's just the Massdriver Agentic Harness and Context Lake, kind of super high level overview. From a technical and security aspect, this is great because I can think of how I want my company to have their compliance rules configured, what tools I want. I can make that change once as an operator, and now developers, other operators, or AI can't get around it, right? They're just kind of forced to work through it. So that's fantastic. But the other thing here is as an operator, somebody who's just doing a demo, this just saved me 30, 40 hours of work building a demo application, building all these cloud resources, the AWS equivalents, the GCP equivalents, how we're going to do the data migration. And I was able to build that entire thing with about a paragraph of text, and Massdriver's Agentic Harness and Context Lake, so it can do all the querying. So super cool. If you're working on AI now and you're using agents to manage infrastructure and you want to make safe changes to production, check it out at massdriver.cloud/AI. Thanks so much. And I got to figure out how to turn this off.